Off. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. And thank you for joining me on the SYLBOURNE Show, connecting with Jamaica. Today is the 25th of July, 2021. And of course, it's in the UK today. It is, what should I say? It's a wet day. Wet day. It has been hot and sunny for the longest while. And to the point that I was going to take a trip to Jamaica at a short spur of a moment. But lo and behold, that didn't happen. So what I've done is bring Jamaica to me. So tonight I've got Connecting with Jamaica, which is a show which I created as a way of connecting with the diaspora. When I say the diaspora connecting with Jamaica, one of the things I like to say is this. The potency of the diaspora is when there's a connection with Jamaica and there's a strategic partnership. And since I've been in this country, the UK, I try to make it my duty to somehow stay connected with Jamaica. I do recall after a while at law school, and I felt like I was missing out on Jamaica. I called the High Commission and I said to them, I would like to somehow get involved with a Jamaican organization to keep my roots, to make sure that I don't slip and slide and lose my flavor with Jamaica. And they linked me with different Jamaican organizations. And from that time, I've kept my links with Jamaica very closely. I created the organization Facilitators for Better Jamaica, which is a lobby group and think tank, which is there, nearly 12,000 people on Facebook. I invite you to join it as well. And then after a while, I created the SYLBOURNE Show, which is me, really, SYLBOURNE, from Ochi, straight out of Ochi, you know what I mean? And it's a way, again, that I use to create a platform, because I believe that we have the power and the potential to create things and to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen, because we are a great people. Black people, we are great people. Jamaican people, we are great people, you know? So without further ado, I have a guest tonight, and it's a very interesting gentleman, and hail from Jamaica, and is DANIJAH Taylor, aka DANIJAH, young Jamaican multi-award winning writer, author, educator, and content creator. I'm not going to say too much. He's going to say it for himself. But in 2017, DANIJAH created a social enterprise studio, DAN, a Jamaican-based production studio that specialized in self-publishing of authentic Jamaican and Afrocentric reading book, textbook, and hosting of live entertainment events, all focused on improving literacy. One of which was, and he impacted several risk groups in Ghana, USA, and Jamaica, one of which was a successful free creative writing workshop called Writing for Life. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the most honorable DANIJAH.
Blessings, everyone. Blessings, SYLBOURNE, give thanks.
Yes, Virgin. I said the most honorable. And I say the most honorable because I believe in creating words and creating my destiny, my future, the things that I believe. I sometimes in Jamaica, you used to hear them say, don't put your hat where you can't reach it. I change that. I say, I mean, I like the one. I mean, I say it. You know, I believe that you should put your hat where you can't reach it.
And reach it.
And if you have to take a ladder or
build the step or build the ladder for reach the hat, man.
Same way, Virgin. Anyway, how are you, DANIJAH?
I'm okay, man. Basically, it's been, you mentioned a rainy day. Well, it's quite overcast now in Portmore, but we still have a lot of sun. So I'm here to spread some sunshine to the UK, you know, give thanks.
I want to tell you this. I do a lot of walking in the morning, and sometimes when it's overcast, many people have said I'm a very consistent and persistent person, because during the time when it was snowing, I was still walking. During the time when it was raining, I was still walking. During the time when snow fall, rain or fall, typhoon, I was still walking. And I always say this, DANIJAH, that the sun is always shining. The only thing is that the cloud has covered it.
Yeah, which is right. It's just a matter of time, you know? Yeah. So at the end of the day, we know that time is so important. Time lost cannot be retrieved. So if you want to be successful, you have to have that discipline. You have to have that commitment, and you have to be consistent. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of time before them say every dark cloud have a silver lining. So you have to prepare for that silver lining.
Yes, yes, definitely. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for joining today. And on a short notice, we met you, and I said, let's make this happen. And but tell us, give us a background. I sort of gave a synopsis there, but there's more to you. Tell us about Danijah Taylor, aka Danijah, the writing god. Set the
Well,
stage, sir.
I was born in St. Andrew, Kingston, Dreadites. That's
Mm,
basically in the Mona era. At the age of 3, my grandmother, who basically my savior, I refer to her as my savior. She took
mm.
me from Dreadites and I moved to Portmore. And that's when I basically, she was the one who gave me everything I need at that nurturing age. And I went to Kingston College. After Kingston College, I left and I was pursuing a career in accounting. I
Hold on.
was
When you
very
when you say Kingston College, there's a term which they call all the while. You guys, is it what is it?
40s,
I thought it was called YC because I'm from York Castle. Is it a
yeah,
YC? When I
Casey.
say YC, you guys always you guys put me down big. 40s, yes.
Yeah, so after Kingston College, I left and basically had aspirations to become an accountant. And during that time, I was doing ACCA. I was doing fairly well. I passed the first 2 exams, and that's when I fell on some hard times and I had to look a job.
Yes.
And I was working in the narcotics canteen. During that time, I still had aspirations to become an accountant. But during that time now, this is in 2010. I start working there 2010 in the canteen, cooking to basically, as I said, to continue or further my education. But during that period, I said within 4 years, 2014, I said to myself, being that I was there in the canteen and it was a police station, like the police them present wanted me to become like a police. And during that period, like I said to myself, 2014, I said to myself, I must can find something in myself. I was earning for that because I said that
Mm,
school would have been a next 4 years, and then after the 4 years, I'd have to step up the ladder, work up the ladder. And me myself, I wasn't into that. Like during school, I wasn't that type of person to basically I didn't see myself in the 9 to 5. So I said I must can create something and become an entrepreneur. So I bought paint set, I bought a camera, I bought everything artistic, and started to dabble in those all those stuff. In
mm.
2016, my mentor from Kingston College, she said to me that I was posting photos on Facebook because by then I began to go around Jamaica, started
Yes.
to snap pictures here and there. And she said to me, Danijah, you need to enter the JCDC photography competition.
Mm.
When I went on the JCDC website, basically the photo competition was closed, but the creative writing competition was open, and it was 2 weeks time it would be closed. So I said to myself, I remember in high school I had an English teacher, Miss Wilson. She died of COVID. She was the vice principal. She died last year because of
Okay.
COVID. And
Mm.
basically she said, I remember one time she gave me a piece to write, and when I wrote it, she said to me, Danijah, your story is amazing, you know, where I get it from or where I heard it from. She still never want to give me the full 100 props, but she said it was very good. And I
Yes.
remember that, and I kept that with me. And I basically, at the time when I saw the creative writing competition, I had aspirations to try writing. That's
Yes.
when I said, you know, the photo competition is closed, but I'm going to take this opportunity to basically write this short story. So the theme was eat healthy, exercise, and beat and knock out obesity. So
Yes.
I remember while cooking, basically people, they didn't really have a good diet. The person that I was serving, the police, they didn't really have a good diet. So I saw the first and effects of not keeping a good diet, not exercising. So basically I said to myself, you know, and I remember cooking and I came up with this. Him got big, him spin like a gig, him pants
Yes.
can't get slack. That
Yes.
is the story of Orlando Jack. And that's what I used to develop the story within 2 weeks. I had
Mm.
a few friends from Edna Manley, and they basically designed the cover, which is this
Orlando Jack, yes.
Orlando Jack, and I entered it. In this time I didn't have a laptop. I used my cell phone and I just pitter patter with one document. It wasn't even like paragraph or not. It was just one sprint document, and I send it into JCDC. Despite the fact I also have dyslexia, so there's
So,
quite a
so I just put up the picture there. The Orlando Jack, the big guy holding the small guy.
guy, yeah.
Ah,
So basically now I developed the story and I sent it in, and within 2 months time I got a call that I won an award. And to me that was one of my proudest moments.
yeah.
I went and I collected the award, and while collecting the award that's when they referred to the person, the awardee is as very talented. I heard those words, very talented, the talents, congratulate them. So in my head, that's when I said, this is what I'm going to do. This is my first public award in anything. And this is when I said I'm going to make writing basically it. So the journey continued in 2016. I made a trod to downtown with the recommendation of some fellow Kingston College school friends, and I met up with a group called Life Yard. And basically I developed during that period 2000, and this is 2016 now. I did a live reading of Orlando Jack, and within that live reading realized we got kids from the community with the help of with the help of Lifeyard. We got kids from the community and we gave them what you call a reading lesson, and this reading lesson was Orlando Jack. And we realized that the kids there had a deficit in English. Normally kids, in the inner city, they're not prevalent to basically a home structure. So some of them are on the street. So the books sometimes get left behind, right? And realistically, I said to myself, what can I do now to basically help them? And that's when we created the Writing for Life, because at the end of the day, yes, I could have wrote a story every weekend and then read it to them. But to me, that would have been very strenuous because I was still working in the canteen at the time. And also I wanted to basically give them an opportunity to express, teach them what I knew, which was writing, show them the tool of give them a tool to help them in life. So I developed Writing for Life with the slogan Penpowerment. And we got kids from the same community, Parade Gardens, and basically they develop short stories. We got illustrators from all over the world to come and basically illustrate their short stories. And they created their short story, and it was such impactful that I got the nation's attention. I got basically a lot of people to come there and help them. And the program will just grow from strength to strength. It only stopped because of COVID.
Wow. So I like the bit where it mentioned about pen empowerment, and that is very crucial, because what you're saying is that there's power in the pen. Normally we talk about empowerment, words that is used, but there's a pen empowerment, and the coining of that term there. What is it now like, especially with the creativity and the critical thinking in our youths in Jamaica, and the work that you believe you're cut out for? DANIJAH?
Well, we are a very creative set of people, in terms of, if you look on the music industry, we produce the most music per capita. We produce a lot of great writers, entertainers. So at the end of the day, it's just to give the youths them that opportunity, show them that this is also a next form of creating. Because when we look at it, kids kind of shy away from the pen. That's the more likely to go on their phones. But when we show them that the games that you play, the movies that you watch, all these, it starts from writing. Somebody has to write the plot of the game, somebody has to write the plot of the movie. So we show them the connections to real life situation with writing, and how they can develop into something different. And to tell you the truth, kids nowadays, they are very much into games. And when you mention games and basically creating a game, you get their attention. And and also my creations, my work, it tends to connect with them. So it's more like my personality including with their excitement, and they
Yes.
deliver.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. Those on Instagram. For those on Instagram, you're only hearing me and seeing me, but you're better yet to see the lovely guy, which is the Niger. That is if you come onto YouTube or on Facebook. On YouTube, SYLBOURNE TV, you can watch it live, but you can always watch it back after, but you can hear very clearly. For those on YouTube and Facebook, I encourage you to share it. And of course, I know sometimes the brunt of it is the replay, which is going to be there. Um, then I want to go back to the point where you mentioned about the pen empowerment. And why I say the pen empowerment is because the pen is now, people are harder writing with their pen, isn't it? But is it the principle you're about writing by typing?
Well, I'm more about writing in general, so it's
Writing with paper, yes?
yeah. So at the end of the day, for me, because everybody processing writing is different. But
Yes.
for me, you see the pen, it gives you a meditation. It takes you,
Yeah.
it takes you to a place, and a lot of times youths need reflection. They need
Mm,
that moment in which you take away technology, you take away
yes.
everything, and you basically write your thoughts, write what you're feeling. And with that we see that you develop, writing develops you as a person, because I am a testimony to that. Writing
Yes.
has taken me from point A to point B, and it's very much a blessing. So if I can transcend that energy and show them that the pen, as I
Mm,
said, is even mightier than the sword, because
mm,
it will, when you write something, it's lasts for generations. So
no,
it's not like there's a generation after me, the generation after the generation after me will benefit from the work that I'm doing now. So when you look into this, realize the power of the pen and why it is important. But writing can be done, it depends on the person. If you want to
yes.
type, because it's the same, because I myself have to type after I finish write it with the
Yes.
pen. So it's all about your method. But for me, the pen, it utilized, because kids normally use pen and pens, right? So
Yes.
they don't, we in Jamaica, we don't use laptops in the schools. So it's also gives them a reflection of what they do on a daily basis at school. Just the same, empowerment.
Yeah. Someone on Instagram says, "I love the pen and paper." You know, I'm touching 25 times two, and when I'm in court, and with what is happening now with the online things and with my work, I'll have the computers on, maybe two, three computers with the camera and everything, with the judge and the parties. And if anything goes wrong, I rush for the court pad, the paper,
Yeah,
because even though I got the computer, I just love. Of course, it is based on my historical training, whereby we grew up on the pen and the paper.
pen
So
and paper.
that's the mentality. But I think the point I'm just pushing is, hi Kim Snow, she's a writer, she's online. The reason I'm pushing this whole pen and paper thing with the youths of today, and also with the advent of COVID, which has pushed the nation, let's say Jamaica, into getting tablets. Because
Yeah,
I've been involved with organization like a company called Lakelas, who help them to get fundraising for laptops to a schooling, you know. So is it that children now are, their minds are different now, they are more sharper now? Um, do you, I'm asking you this question. Do you think the pen and the paper may be redundant? Not for you, but do you think it may be redundant at some point soon?
well, we live in a technological age now. We can't
Mhm.
deny that, right?
Yes.
But for me, when I say pen empowerment, I mean pen empowerment. You see, if I'm to host a workshop, and once I can see you face to face, I'm basically going to draw for the pen and paper. But
Yes.
what we have to also recognize too, because as I said, the pen and paper has its benefits in terms of slowing down, in terms of getting basically you to think. To me, the pen, you have to think harder when you have the pen in the car. Sometimes, even when I'm typing on the computer, if I can't remember something, I just Google it, boop, 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 and it
Yeah.
comes up. You know,
Yeah.
when I'm by myself, sometimes I have to rely more on my memory bank, right?
Yes.
And with the pen and paper, sometimes your knowledge, you have to express that knowledge more, as I said. But we live in an age where it's technologically advanced. So me myself now, when it comes to writing, I stick to the pen and paper, but what we have to do now, because reading is still very important. So
Yes.
what I'm moving into, I initially started developing video audio books, but with
Yes.
what I'm moving into now fully is basically digital animated books in which
Mm.
you have moving sounds, moving images, and basically it doesn't steal away from the whole reading experience because there will be reading involved in the whole production. So it's just to mix the two to create the perfect flavor. But I will never say the pen is redundant. Yes, we move into other gadgets, but
Yes.
for me, the pen is very critical in
Okay.
terms.
Yeah. No. No. That's a fair answer, and I see where you're coming from, and again, it's up to the leaders. When I say leaders, not government, but the leaders in the academic area of the books.
Yeah,
You are the one writing. You're the one speaking to the young people. So in a way, the power is in your hands at the same time to translate the information down to say there's still power in the pen.
the pen, which is
You
very
know,
much so.
which is very much so. The books I'm not here. I've seen the books. I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing. The Niger. Can you see what I'm
Yeah,
seeing?
I'm seeing them.
Yeah, these are your books. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell us about them briefly.
Well, basically, these books, I can tell you each of them have a special place in my heart. You know,
Yes.
it's based. All of them are based on real life experiences. Some of them is over several years, but I compile them into these publication in which I self-publish them. I basically create them. I staple them. I basically at home, and they are
Mhm.
all illustrated by different local Jamaican artists. I tend to collab, even though I have artistic talents just the same. I tend, because
Mhm.
I'm building basically an industry in which I collab with different illustrators for each and every one of these books. So my first book is Orlando Jack.
Yes.
That's my first JCDC award in 2016. Then
Yes.
yeah, then to the top right, you have Odeda Guardians and Gods.
Yes.
Basically, I got that in that's a JCDC award in 2017. And
Yes.
Zabitian Zemidemi and Work. Basically that's 2019. I got those two in 2019. Vote and Pedal Patrol now.
Yes.
Basically, those are my publications. Those are not
Mhm.
competition writing. So out of those 6 books, 4 are JCDC. Would you like me to go into them more, as in tell
Yes.
me?
I tell you what. Just hold 1 second because people on Instagram are having a go at me saying they can't see anything. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, in order to see the books, you may have to see them later when I post them on my page, or you go onto the Niger site. But if you want to see them now while we're talking, you have to go onto my YouTube channel. Kim Snow, you know my YouTube channel, SYLBOURNE TV, and that's how you can see them. But I'll be posting them on my site as well, where you can see them. So yeah, it's very powerful. So you can do that. So you're not, what should I say, disenfranchised. The Niger people are saying they want to see your books. So you're saying further. You can go in a bit further because
All right.
at the end of the day, the reason why I want you on the show was to talk about your books and also how people can get your books. So, and it's important as well because there's something about your books with your writing. You also put images in it. If you can explain as well, sir.
All right. So for me, myself, as I said, I live in Jamaica, and to
Mm.
me, that's the greatest inspiration a creative can have. You know,
Yes,
we're such a colorful people. The way we
yes.
dress, the way we speak, the way basically everyone themselves
I was
is.
going to put it on a
is.
Jamaican colors today, but we couldn't
To
find it.
me, to
They were
me,
too much.
everybody to me, from even once you're Jamaican, even
Yeah,
if you're born overseas and you have Jamaican parents, you're a different breed just the same, you know. So with
yeah.
that creativity, For instance, Orlando Jack, as I said, I was in the canteen at the time, and basically eating was an everyday thing for me, and I saw that people were not very keeping a good diet. And at the time, I had a girlfriend, and she had a brother. And every day she used to come to me and tell me the brother was very rude. He was fat. He used to love eat, and he used to go on with a whole heap of things, So every day she used to come and tell me the things that what he was going on with, and I used to laugh. And I said to myself, when I got the whole team eat healthy, exercise, and beat bully, I said, I'm going to develop his characteristic as the main character. So I based the story in St. Elizabeth, Mountainside, which is basically where my mother grew up, and I spent a few times down there when I was younger. And basically, he was a bully. He ate a lot. His mother owned a pastry shop in which her signature was sweet potato pudding, the sweet Ella top, Ella bottom, and Hallelujah in the middle. So he ate 3 2-pound pans daily. So breakfast, after school, and dinner time, he ate basically sweet potato pudding.
It was like a mampy. Sorry.
He's big. So in the story, he weighed over 200 pounds, and he was just 11.
Yes, sir.
His mother changed his uniform for 3 times for the school term, but eventually he went to school. He had a reputation basically to sit at a table. Lunchtime, he just sit at the table, and his victims just brought him food, and he would just eat them and just send them off. So on this particular day, you had a new student, and this new student was his total opposite. He was basically a star student coming from the previous school, and they had an altercation, and it ended up that Orlando Jack was embarrassed, and that was when the jeer came in. Him got big, him spin like a gig, him pants can't get slack. That are the story of Big Belly Jack. And everyone at the school who used to bully started to laugh at him, and he had to run. He ran into the bush, which is bird bush. He was so lazy that the school was on a hill, but bird bush was a shortcut through to get to the school. When he was at bird bush, he used to eat the sweet potato pudding and just throw it to the birds. So there was this particular owl now who was basically he got a piece of the pudding every day. So on this occasion now, when Orlando ran into the bird bush, he was embarrassed and he was crying. And basically the patu, because we call owl patu, So the patu came, and the patu started to talk to him, and he was blown away, If a patu, but at the end of the day, we have patu as some spiritual creatures. So the patu eventually started to talk to him and introduce him to a few of his friends, the Dr. Bird, who is Gigi. Gigi basically gave him the life-changing advice, how he must change his attitude. And Orlando Jack eventually changed his attitude, 360 turn, and he eventually saved the town and was awarded, So, and he dealt with his competition, which was the new youth. So it's a very hopeful story, and it teaches the lessons behind it. It teaches you responsibility. It teaches you have to take your own health in your own hands. It's a matter of being consistent and basically doing what is necessary to overcome, and also knowing that being a bully is not about getting respect. People don't respect you. Basically, it's more fair, and the moment they can get to basically change this perspective of you, as in trouble you or laugh at you, they will, because they don't respect you.
Okay, so therefore that storyline there is one which is very captivating, because you bring that color and that dynamics into it with your writing, and also with the images. And of course, we have seen the studio Dan Anansi's story. We love Anansi's story from Jamaica days. This Zabiti and Zemidemi. In a nutshell, what is that one there?
All right, Zabiti and Zemidemi. That's I'll call it my Beauty and the Beast. You know, Beauty and the Beast. That's my spin-off. So it takes place in Jamaica, but this was when Jamaica was called Jamaica by basically the Tainos, right? So this was even before the story started before the Tainos were here. It started with a king from basically Africa sailing across the Atlantic Ocean, and he came upon Jamaica, which they already knew was the land of wood and water. His goal was to basically steal the energy of the land of wood and water and bring it back to the Sahara Desert and basically use that energy to make the Sahara Desert fruitful again. That's where his kingdom was located. When he was on the island and was when he was moving through the island, he was cutting down all the trees. He killed the iguana. And right as his sorcerer or magician was about to use the blue orb to basically suck up all of Jamaica wood and water, two spirits came down and basically they cursed him. They turned his army invisible. He became an iguana man based on the fact he was cruel to the iguana. 900 years passed and the Tainos them finally came off board the island on some wooden boats. Then again, the spirits appeared to his men again and told them that it was their responsibility to secretly teach the new inhabitants of the island the way of life, basically because they were more advanced, just teach them a few stuff. So over a period of time, the Tainos them began to notice that they were being assisted by some spirits, and they called them Upanos, which is the official name for the spirits that the Tainos call them. And they had a leader which they call Demi. You know that the Tainos call their leaders their god Demi. So at the end of the day, the Cacique began to rule, and he had some children two were lazy and one was very willing to help. That was Zabiti. He developed trade. He began to trade with the Lesser Antilles, but one of the canoes them went into difficulties, and the whole harvest for that season basically got destroyed. He himself now found himself in which everybody from his village began to leave, leaving himself only with his children, and in some very hard times. So at the end of the day, he had two children who were very lazy. They didn't cater to him, but Zabiti was there working and working. He soon got some news from because he had a brother in the eastern end of the island that one of the canoes, that his canoes washed up on shore. So he must come and check it out. When he went there, the canoe was destroyed beyond repair. His brother embarrassed him, calling him a failure, and tell him to get out of him place, run him out of him village to go back to him children. While walking through the jungle now, him stumbled upon the hut of Zemidemi, and that was when he went in. He had some food. Basically, he used up the amenities in the hut, and when he was leaving, he stole an iguana. He was going to give his daughter the iguana because she has an obsession with iguanas. She had a pet, so he was like, since that Zabit is working so hard, I'm going to take this gift to give her. Then as soon as he took it, Zemidemi jumped down and said, for use, I gave you food, I gave you shelter, and this is how you repay me by stealing my iguana. And he was saying that, no, I didn't know, but he still cursed him and said he's going to stay here, and he's going to, the only way he can go if his daughter basically becomes his slave, or a way to call it, his companion.
So therefore, what we are saying then, hi, Martha Kaibe, the pen is a powerful tool, Rita Ferguson. Awesome. I guess persons who want to actually get the books, because as you can see, I can sense from DANIJAH that he's very passionate about these books, and actually you can actually do story time, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm basically a storyteller too.
Storyteller.
But when I'm telling stories, I don't tell these stories because they are more complicated, you know.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just drop this one here now. I pinned it on Instagram that if people want to get the books and to buy the books, do they contact your email, which is there, or is on Amazon or what?
All right.
Mm.
Yesterday you mentioned generational wealth and
Yes.
in the talk and sip.
Yes.
And for me, myself, I don't really believe in Amazon. You
Okay.
know, I don't believe in the whole Amazon platform. I believe in developing, making the sacrifice and to develop my own platform
Yes.
in which you can go and basically purchase my books and they'll come to you at the same speed as Amazon. I'm not there as yet, but I'm working towards it. To get my books,
Got a
them
vision.
current,
You got a vision. You got a
yeah,
vision.
to get
Yeah.
my books, them current, contact me by my Gmail, my email, or you can link me directly on Instagram.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, you have seen it. Dan Danijah at gmail.com, Instagram writing G God, and
Yeah,
Facebook Danijah. As you can see also on Instagram. Lake Ellis is on. That's the persons I was telling you about, the organization which I helped in promoting their project to get tablets into school
yeah.
as well. I want to ask you a few questions before we wrap up because I realize time is moving on us. Um, your target audience, of course, is children, isn't it?
Currently, I see myself as a all age writer. But
Mm,
currently, seeing that where I'm at, I'm working on readers for primary school to ninth grade. My next
yes.
two publication coming out in August will be my first set of early readers, which are
Mm,
for kids from 4 to 6, because I'm also a early childhood education teacher. I teach creative writing to
yes, sir.
children age
Mm,
5. I have a program called Read Right Now, which I did in Trenchtown. So what I'm going to use these books now is to stimulate that program, Read Right Now. So these
yes.
books are for children, the younger set of children who is basically just learning to read. Later on, I think as my audience grow, I'll
Yes.
grow the material to suit them just the same. So you can look forward to a lot more adult reading because right now I've entered a few competition in which I've entered adult books,
Yes.
adult stories. So we're looking forward to those.
And you're on your quest now to tap into the UK and the diaspora now because you have saturated the Jamaican, but
Yeah,
you're going. Is it the mission behind that? Is that you want to engage Jamaicans and the Caribbean overseas to attach? Is it attaching themselves with their history? Isn't it?
yeah.
What's your mission there? Tell me what's your mission there, sir.
Basically, my mission is to deliver authentic material we all can relate to, material in which you would want to give to your children. And
Yes.
with that, I think that we live in an age where even in Jamaica, some of these announce story they are fading. You don't even have no one telling them again, right, like that much.
Yes.
Sometimes they're being swept. Them only bring them out during festival
Festival
or
time.
during Black History Month. So
Yes.
what we're
Yes.
doing now is basically seeing if we can make it a holistic diet. Like every day you get up and basically read. That's why I developed daily chapter. So we know that it's a chapter a day. You read a chapter a day to basically continue the heritage, continue telling the stories. Basically,
Yes.
it's just me take the button from Miss Lou and me
Mm,
run with the button now, in which me hoping with empowerment I can develop the person who is going to take the button from me to put it into perspective. So it's just to continue the great, rich legacy of Jamaican and Afrocentric stories.
if
Because it played
yes.
such it played an important part in us basically. When we were in captivity and
Yes.
on the plantation, these were the stories that took us through. These were our recreation. Like we came together, we played the drum, we told the stories. So it's a
Yes.
part of us. It is what makes us who we are.
I think you answered the question a while ago, which I was going to ask by default, is why is the need and the essence of the Anansi story for my children who are born in this country, 9 and 14, and for children who are born to even first generation Jamaican, Windrush Jamaicans, what is the need for them to know these sort of stories?
As I said, basically
Yes,
it's in our DNA, and
yes,
Anansi is a special person. I'm not sure why Anansi is so special. It came
yes.
across from the Middle Passage to the
Mhm.
Caribbean, and it's spread across the whole nucleus of the New World. For
Yes,
instance, the character is a trickster, right? He's a trickster god. His own moniker is that he has a big head, in which he shows his power. His power is not his strength, but is within his head. And we find that the trickster god is it transcends not just in Anansi, the
yeah.
same characteristic is in Burr Rabbit. And Burr
Mhm.
Rabbit is from the south in basically America, but it's the same trickster god in which they use the whole storytelling to represent their struggle, in which they were on a plantation in which the whites or the slave master were the strong ones. So they were more represented by the lion, by the goat, the stronger animals, while Anansi duty was to basically outsmart the whole nucleus of the whole slave master. So these in sense is a sense of pride to me. So
Yes,
when you realize that them pen the stories them off us everyday life. So when you hear Anansi story, it's normally lead to something in everyday life. They said this is why cat and dog are not friends. So
push and dog
those
on up. Yeah,
friend, yes. So at the end of the day, this shows you that they were not stupid, right? It
yeah,
shows you that they knew a lot of things. They had a lot of knowledge. They had basically that natural given talent of basically inspiring, and that is my goal.
one
My
of my
my
yeah, one of my favorite Anansi story was the one about I think it was porridge. Put the porridge, make the porridge hot,
understand.
make
Yeah,
the porridge hot. Put it in the sun, make it get hotter.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
there you
it.
go.
That's the same story where why dog don't like cat because cat trick him. Cat put the porridge in the sun while dog keep it on the stove.
Yes,
When it was time to eat the porridge now, cat walks it off and will the dog mouth burn up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the whole.
Yeah, I want to just go down for the landing soon. What's been like your biggest influence in your life at this present moment? Because you're on a journey. What lessons does those person teach you? Because I believe, and I was speaking to someone today approached me yesterday about some project in Jamaica with young boys and the whole aspect of mentorship and having someone that influenced their life. Who you say is your biggest influence, whether it's a person or persons or
For
things?
me, my biggest influence or my inspiration, I read a lot.
Mm,
I can't really pinpoint. I can pinpoint some individuals, but when it comes to my motivation, I can say my grandmother is my biggest motivation.
yeah,
So she's the one who instills some of these stories that I know. She's the one who basically introduced me to them. When
yeah,
she was an avid reader, she read a lot. Up to now, she has stocks and piles of book at home. So at the end of the day, she instilled that love for reading for me. And then while growing up, I'm inspired by stories. So I
mm,
can I can name all of the stories them in which real life stories I'm talking about now, in which I can relate to the situation you were coming from.
yes,
So for instance, you have Malcolm X, I can relate to Malcolm X. You have Bob Marley, I can
yeah,
relate to Bob Marley. So it's not necessarily pinpointing that person, but I can
yes,
tell you one of my goal is basically to fulfill and get my grandmother. Basically she's basically my greatest motivation. And the sad thing about it still,
mm,
my reality is that she has dementia.
mm,
So basically she can't remember a lot of things. So even now she not really have an idea what I'm doing, but sometimes it's still a joy to basically see her smile just the same, you
yes.
know?
So deep down, it's like deep down, person with dementia is like it's like there's a alter ego whereby they know what's going on at the same time, but someone maybe not come out. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like
man.
another world there. Yes,
In other words, music is her thing now still. She
yes,
remember music just the same. But apart from that, is just to continue working. Me myself, when I look into us, Stephen King, you know
Mm.
Stephen King, the writer.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
his story is an inspiration to me to just the same in which he produced or he produced his works, his life experience, basically the things them that he saw and the
yes.
amount of work he put out. So when I look into that and I realize that the only way to move forward is by working and
Mm.
faith. It's not by faith alone. You have to put in the work, you know. So for
Yes.
me,
You need works. Yeah.
yeah, writing is what I do every day. I read, I constantly
So
researching the next book.
so therefore, if young persons are listening now to you, and even a writer, uh, don't have to be a writer, but even a writer, what is your advice for someone starting out and stepping out? Because you had to step out, and this happened by default in a sense, didn't it?
Hmm? I was searching for it.
You're
Tell you the
searching.
truth, there's no
Mm,
default. I
mm,
was searching for it. I was searching for myself. I normally go home and in the evenings I just cool down and I just relax and meditate. I had a lounge chair, like a up chair, and I
yes.
used to go in it and basically just sit back
Sure.
and think. And with
Yes.
thinking, I always say some words of prayer just the same to find what I'm good at. And
Yes.
with trying things, that's the basic of it. You know, you have to try it every opportunity. Marcus Garvey said, where there is no opportunity, you have to create it for yourself, you know. So at the end of the
Yes.
day, I had to create opportunity for myself, you know, and I was blessed enough to connect with something that I'm very good at. And it comes at a natural ease. Yes, it's very difficult and taxing at times, but you see, when it comes to me feeling hopeful, the
Mm.
greatest feeling is when I get a review. Somebody read the book and they're blown away, you know?
Blown away. Yes. Yes. And in closing, what would you say is one of your positive quotes or words that inspire you that you like to share as well?
For
Because
me,
yes, yes,
I said one already, the Marcus
mm,
Garvey, where there's no opportunity,
create it.
create it for yourself. But for me, it's always to inspire to be inspired.
Yes,
You know, when I
inspired to be inspired, inspired to
yeah,
be inspired.
inspired, yeah. So when I
Yeah.
shine the light, when I see you do something with the light, or you create your own light, that's even more inspiration to me. And that's the cycle of life, you know.
Listen, that is very powerful, and that's a good note to end. Whereby you mentioned we create the opportunities.
Yeah,
As many people say, if there's no door, you create the door,
you
and if
have to
there's
create the
no
door,
table, you create the
create
table, and
the
if
table,
there's and you can't just create the table, you have to create the chair
create the
as well.
house, you create the roof, you
Everything.
create the foundation, everything you have to create. You
Yes.
have to
Yeah.
do it. So if you're a writer, you have to be writing.
Yeah.
If you're a
Well,
painter, you have to be painting.
yes. 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 I have to always bring this one in, and ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping up now, but it's very good conversation that we are having. The advent of COVID has actually challenged a lot of people. It has people has changed course. But do you believe, and I believe that people actually found themselves a lot more at this time, even
Yeah.
through the calamity.
For even for me, like COVID started in December 2019. That's when it really, so we started to hear a lot of news about it. I got my books. I got my first publication in November 2019. So when I was preparing, like this was it. I finally found a product, and moving forward, COVID
Yes,
came and I had to adapt. At one point, the printer wasn't even open because the island was on full lockdown. I had to,
yes,
that was when I created the video animated books. So I have a
yes,
YouTube channel. If you it's done, it's studio done. If you want, you
yes,
can check it out. There's a lot of content on it in which I created, as I said, digital books in which
mm,
preschoolers began to read, and that led me to do basically get other opportunities in which they were Kingston Creatives were giving out some grants in which they were giving COVID grants, and that
yes,
led me to get the opportunity to get that grant. So with COVID, it's all about adjusting, all
mm,
about evolving. Don't stay stagnant because the river
yes,
is not stagnant. You know, if you back it in, it will burst. And to me, anything come, I'm ready for it, man. You know?
So like me's a man from Ochi, where you say Ochi is eight
8 rivers.
rivers, eight
Yeah.
rivers. So we have to just go into the river, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, we just have to push.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to thank you those on Instagram and those on Facebook and those on YouTube and for those on the replay. In
Blessings
order
each
to
and everyone.
yeah, in order to connect and to contact Dan Ija, email danija@gmail.com. It is there. It's up there. You can see it. IG writing
Right,
God.
God.
G God, yeah, Dan Ija, Facebook. You can see that. I pinned it on Instagram, pinned it on Facebook and YouTube. You can see that. I want to just ask you to just the UK. What's your plan for the UK? So I can also support you and for people. What's your plan, sir?
Well, basically, I'm currently in an organization. We're developing a route. It's called Route to Market.
Yes,
It's with Davina Roberts. Basically, she did a few programs over there, and she came to Jamaica and she met some creatives, and basically she's establishing, as I said, a route to market. So she's going to take my products and
yes, sir.
basically she's going to help distribute them throughout the UK. So you can look out. We're going to set up a drop-off location, and
Yes.
basically there's great things in the works for the UK people. So just look out and just keep the name in your memory. Danijah, Danijah.
Brethren, I tell you what, it is awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, there are many different shows that I have, some shows that I plan for, but some shows that I go with the flow. I know you know my saying, people, that I always coin this phrase, don't go with the flow or you'll be in someone else's stream, create your own rivers. I guess my inspiration is because Jamaica and Ocho have 8 rivers. And I always say, don't go with the flow. And I'm not talking about the Flow telephone company because who knows, one day I might want them to sponsor me. But it's a principle that I believe that, as Danai just said, we create things. We don't run with things. We don't run with Amazon because they just want to take you into space and just
Yeah.
spend
You
five
see?
minutes or
And
six,
them
six, 7 minutes.
yeah. And that is one of the reason, when we look into the capital and the income where them earn, and it's like it's space look to go, that's one of the let me say Amazon is a no.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And then I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight and be a friend for the show. And of course, we have established a link. We have been speaking a lot. You've come on to talk and sip. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow DANIJAH on his Instagram. And you can follow myself, Info SYLBOURNE. Like and subscribe to the show as well. And one of the key things that I just said is create your own opportunities. Don't wait for things to happen, and inspire to inspire. Am I correct, tonight?
Yeah.
To inspire, and the key books which he spoke about, and if I can just mention them again: Orlando Jack, Boat Studio Dan Anansi Story, Zabiti, and Demi.
Pedal Patrol,
Yes.
and Odeda Guardians and Gods.
Awesome. There's a lot to get in. And Virgin, thank you so much, sir. And
Yeah, man, it's a blessing, SYLBOURNE.
it's a blessing, sir. And peace out and have a good night.
Blessings.
Peace out. Respect. Thanks. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. And as usual, it's a pleasure, it's an honor. For those on Instagram, thank you again. For those on Facebook and YouTube, remember to like and share the show. I do appreciate it. Next week, I'm hoping to have Miss Yolanda Bramwell talking about Brownstown, something that she's a project. It's not fully confirmed as yet, but we're planning to do that one. And following more other shows on Sundays, tapping into Jamaica. I just tried to look him up on Facebook and couldn't find him. Don't worry, I'll make sure you find him, Michelle, because you're on my link. I can make sure you find that because I have him all connected. And who else is there? Thank you for coming on. And also Julie Marie Behari, good one. Awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, 10 o'clock, UK time in Jamaica. Enjoy yourself. Peace out and have a good night. Bless you.